Hello, this is Denise Miller, your Leadership Lady Live, and we're here with our Friday deep dive into communicating decisively. This week, we've been exploring concise communication and decisive leadership. Today, we're tying everything together to understand how these skills create the foundation for leading with genuine confidence. True leadership confidence isn't bravado or certainty in all things. Rather, it's the ability to provide clear direction even amid uncertainty. When you communicate with clarity, you create confidence both in yourself and in those you lead. There are four pillars of confident, clear leadership, and I'd like to explore that framework with you. The first is precision in the message. As we discussed on Monday, getting to the point isn't just a communication preference, it's a leadership necessity. Leaders who master concise communication demonstrate respect for others' time and for their cognitive bandwidth. Precision requires preparation. Before important communications, ask yourself three questions. What is the single most important thing I need to convey? Next, if my team remembers only one thing, what should it be? Third, how can I articulate this in one clear sentence? Pillar number two stresses conviction in delivery. On Wednesday, we discussed and explored decisiveness. Let's examine how your physical and vocal presence reinforces your message. Communications research shows that confident leaders maintain comfortable eye contact. They use deliberate, measured speech. They employ strategic pauses. They minimize qualifiers and filler words. Oh, but, and you know. They stand or sit with erect posture. These aren't superficial tricks. They're physical expressions of the inner clarity you've developed. You've developed it through precise thinking. Notice the difference in these two demonstrations. Alita says, I was thinking maybe we should consider, if everyone's comfortable with it, possibly moving in the direction of the new strategy that we discussed last month versus the following. I've decided to implement the new strategy we discussed. We'll begin the transition next week. What questions do you have? The second approach creates psychological safety through clarity and the decisiveness of the manager. Your team knows exactly where you stand. Now for pillar number three, transparency about what's unknown. Here's where many leaders falter. They believe that confidence means hiding uncertainty. The opposite is what is really true. Confident leaders clearly distinguish between what they know, what they believe based on current information, and what remains unknown. This transparency is what builds the trust. Your team knows that you're not going to manufacture false certainty. So try this framework when there's uncertainty involved. Here's what we know definitely. Here's my assessment based on current information. Here are the questions we're still working to answer. Pillar four is receptivity to input. This is counterintuitive. Confident, clear leaders actively invite diverse perspectives. This isn't undermining authority, it's strengthening your decision-making process. After clearly stating what the issue is, immediately stop talking and ask for input. As leaders, we're used to walking into a room and saying what we feel and then inviting commentary. But when we do that, there are people who will not share what they really feel because they're concerned about how you're going to feel about them. So if you just state the issue, Don't say anything about what you're feeling or what you're thinking, and allow everyone else in the room to speak. You will get the benefit of the best thinking of your team. And make sure that you don't nod or smile. Just be totally deadpan. Look from person to person. You might take notes. I would suggest if you're going to take any notes, take a few notes on what each person says so that nobody feels that they're being singled out in any way. Then make your decision. This is something that I learned from Simon Sinek, who learned it because of something that was written by Nelson Mandela. I have taught that for years since I've learned it. I call it the Mandela method of getting team input. Nelson Mandela got it from his dad, his father, who was a tribal chieftain, and that was the way that he conducted meetings. Everyone sat in a circle. He sat down. He allowed everyone else to speak before he spoke. I encourage you to think about that when you have unknowns or you need to make a decision. And now I encourage you to go back to what we spoke about this week. Think about what we talked about on Monday about clarity. Think about Wednesday, decisive delivery. That's the ultimate test of leadership communication. It's not how much you say, it's how clearly you say what you have to say. When you lead with genuine confidence and clarity, you create the conditions for both collective success and individual growth. Next week, we'll continue to explore leadership communication. And in the meanwhile, I challenge you to implement some of the things that I suggested today. I would love to hear how those things work out, particularly if you choose to use what I've coined as the Mandela method. Have a wonderful Friday. Have an excellent weekend. And I'll see you again on Monday. Take care and be well.